a response video to Ujama Flipper, and I guess partly the conference report. I don't know. Well, yeah, I'll save him for later, a different video. I won't bother with this subject just because there's a whole problem here. I mean, the Pat Condell thing, I mean, it really was a cheap shot doing the dog thing. I mean, if he did that deliberately, that was just, I don't know if he did deliberately. He might have just used it because, you know, he knew of that circumstance and he said, oh, this is a good argument to make. So I don't know if he really thought about how insensitive it was, but I don't know for sure. I don't know, and I really don't want to defend anybody or get into anything. It's just, it was ugly. I'll admit that. I didn't see it until I saw his video. And so anyway, but yeah, that's, but you know, I've been attacked by a dog though, so I mean, I know, you know, like really almost catastrophically. So part of that, it's a tough argument. I mean, it's really it's a difficult. I mean, I've used hostile language towards people who don't take responsibility for their pet ownership, but I don't mean to imply anything with regard to Fred, like I said. So I mean, you know, you got to give Fred his due. He's a classy guy, and if something goes wrong, I'm sure it's not because he, you know, had some obvious chance to fix it. But anyway, I'm not gonna, you know, whatever. Just don't even go into that. This is on the immigration thing again, and so, you know, with John Flipper, he says things like, well, multiculturalism is inevitable. And that's not what's going to happen. It's not like we're going to create this Disneyland where everybody's going to live together and they're all going to have their own style, and their styles aren't going to conflict with each other, and there's going to be it's going to be this thing where you become nations of people. You have these divisions and this segregation, and you end up creating new nations inside of nations. You take something that was consolidated and comfortable and had gained balance, and you just unbalance it by now creating new problems within your circumstance. You create a new kind of, you know, the new ghettos, the new slums, the new foreign nation kind of thing within your own nation, and so it just creates division and hostility and room for all kinds of battles and resentments. And it won't be some multiculturalism. What it tends to do is it creates, it's not like a mixture of colors where all the colors stay separate and all distinct and all pretty. It just turns into mud. Everything mixes and you end up with this brown shit. And that's all we're going to end up with, is this brown shit. I don't know, shit, that sounded so wrong. I was talking about colors, all right? When you mix colors, brown is what you get, you know? And so that's a whole different subject, but it has nothing to do with what we're talking about when it comes to race and ethnicity and all that stuff. And the real point is this cultural problem. And the fact that it's a problem. It's not a good thing, it's a bad thing. I want to get rid of borders. I want to get rid of distinctions. I want to get rid of the segregation. And the only way you can do that is to come up with some harsh minimum, some standard of culture. Like, this is how you have to basically, this is the definition of civilized, and these are the rules you have to meet. It means you can't torture animals in your yard, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, and you can't, certain ceremonies and rituals are going to be verboten now because you have to be a civilized participant in the civilization. And you can't be a Mormon anymore. You can't be some other goddamn asshole thing because these are the rules of the civilization. You know, and it makes it more functional to have this common sense, these common rules of how you live and what you take responsibility for. And it gets into this whole problem of welfare states and all the rest of this stuff because there's this idea that people have is they can say, I can, like if my next door neighbor can't have the right to have 20 kids if their kids spill over into my life. If I see their hungry little starving bodies, I'm going to have to take responsibility for it. It's like I'm feeding 3 homeless cats for, why, you know, because they're at my door. They're not my cats. I didn't breed them. I didn't create them. They're somebody else's problem. There's something somebody else made. But now I'm the one stuck with the responsibility because I can't be unempathetic. So people are extorting the system by having kids they can't take care of, and then other people have to take care of their kids, and then they really resent it because now they're taking care of their kids, and what are their kids doing? They're walking around with 9mm guns and threatening to kill them. You know, I mean, what the hell is that shit? This is the kind of crap that just destroys anything you want to call civilization. You're not going to have civilization if only half the people in the civilization have to obey the rules. If the other half can behave any way they want to because they have some Sharia law that says so, well, that's just fucking bullshit. And it just isn't going to work. So, I mean, there has to be some common denominator. And that common denominator has to, you know, unfortunately can't give people rights where you say, well, you don't have the same civil rights if you live here. And if you live here and the majority gets to be this certain kind of people, they can deny you your basic civil rights. And now you'll have to go through their procedure and their crap and their rituals if you want to do something. You'll no longer be a citizen of a nation. You're going to be a citizen of a stupid little fucking community. And they can essentially drive you the fuck out of your house. And that's bullshit. People have to have, you know, human rights. world rights, whatever you want to call them. That has to be part of it. And like I said, I like the idea of I'm an American first. What state I live in is barely relevant to me. I could give a fuck about the whole idea of having states. I could give a fuck about having a county, and I could give a fuck about even having a goddamn town. I want to live in a civilization, and a civilization can't have different standards of conduct for people who live there and people who live there and people who live there. It just can't happen that way. There's got to be a requirement to come up to, you have a democracy or whatever, and you have your elections, and you have your fight, and then you get a free vote. And what we don't have now, though, is a free vote. And I think that's the frustration Pat Condell speaks out of. I personally feel that same frustration. I hated voting for Obama. It sickened me that I had to vote for this shithead. I hate what the Democratic Party has come to stand for. The terrible, awful policy that they advocate. But yeah, it's better than the other evil. And those are my two fucking lousy, stinking, crappy choices. And part of me wanted to vote for Ralph Nader. But yeah, obviously the other part of me knew that would be just throwing the baby out with the bathwater, or however you want to put it. That would be just, it's broken, and I can understand people saying it's just too broken to care. But yeah, part of me says, no, it's not quite broken enough to sit there and take the risk of letting the real crazy assholes get power. Or have more power, or more years of power. But I can't argue with somebody who's made the choice, because I'm that far away from the fucking same choice. How the fuck could I sit there and argue it when I'm that fucking far away from saying, yeah, I'll never vote for a Democrat again? Because I'm sick of what this lousy fucking jackass choice I'm given. I mean, why should I be voting for a Democrat if he's afraid to tax the rich and he's fucking stealing our money and giving it to the goddamn bankers? What fucking kind of liberal is that? I mean, you had a goddamn fucking liberal party candidate who was fucked George Bush's ass as far as you could fucking climb up his fucking ass. I mean, it was disgusting. I mean, you might as well been Major's fucking goddamn son. He was such a fucking goddamn tool of George fucking Bush. And so you feel good about that vote? Fuck that. I mean, this system is broken, and these assholes ain't learning no lessons. Because these parties know they own us, and so maybe there's a point where you just got to say, no, you don't fucking own my vote anymore. All right? If you can't be a little bit consistent to the goddamn principles I thought I was voting for, then fuck you. Okay? You're not going to get your fucking job. So like I said, I can't. That resentment is not preposterous. It's not, Plutonian loony science or something. I mean, it's not tin fucking hat crazy. It comes out of a real resentment because something very critical is being thrown out here. It's being broken here. And so anyway, but I'm not. It's an argument that I don't want to get into. But I'm just saying there's no point in. Well, it's not that there's no point. I mean, I understand the argument, but there's this. Like I said, there's no point. If you're not going to do the civil rights thing right, then there's no point in doing it, kind of thing. And if you're not going to, if you can't vote for a principle, then what are you voting for? I mean, it's just so disgusting. And so I'm just saying I think that's what Pat Condell is reacting to, and I'm not defending his choice to try to blow the system up. And that's obviously what he's choosing to do. He obviously knows that he has no empathy with any other policy that these other assholes have. The only reason why he's voting for them is because they are something other than these assholes, and that's the only way he can say to these assholes, "Fuck you." All right, quit fucking me. Quit starting fucking goddamn wars. Quit doing all the rest of the bullshit you're doing. I mean, that's the only way to do that. I don't even know if he's against the war, but that's a whole different issue. Yeah, I mean, this whole liberal philosophy that let's open the borders and let's let people have as many fucking kids as they want. And let's give them unlimited health care and let's do all. Fuck you, okay? Yeah, fuck you. That is not going to fucking goddamn work. It's not even going to come close to working. And this country's is going to got a big fucking problem on its hands, and it's created by this liberal notion that people are going to come here and they're going to give and not take. And it doesn't fucking. It's a nice ideology you have. Oh, they'll come here and be so grateful, and they'll be just so giving to the country. Well, the net effect, the net practical reality, that isn't the practical reality. Okay, the practical reality is, the burden's going to be bigger than the gain, and that all you're going to do is create a desperation in your own country. You're undercutting wages, and you're destroying the very foundation of your fucking economy. You're creating a rich poor man economy. By doing that. So yeah, we're fucking the civilization that we had. I mean, it's just a practical fact. So, I mean, there has to be some kind of rational statement that says, no, this, yeah, fine, open the borders, but yeah, as long as you're going to be just like the rest of you, you're going to be part of civilization. If you're going to be part of something else and walk around in the hood with your 9mm and your this and your that and all this other bullshit, well, fuck that crap. Fuck that multiculturalism. Fuck it. Yeah, it's just not worth the price. So anyway, like I said, this is not a subject. Well, whatever. I just wanted to be clear, and I just want to say that, yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's true that you can do this multicultural thing. It just creates excuses for people to irritate the shit out of each other, and one culture is going to win, or what you're going to end up with is a bastard. You're going to end up with a bastardization. You're going to end up with a platypus. I don't know. You're going to end up with something ugly. Okay, you're not going to end up with anything good to come of this. It's not going to be constructive. It's going to be destructive and deconstructive. Okay, enough said.